All right, Morgan.
Yes.
Morgan, where did you come from? Where are you? Where were you born?
Where was I born?
Yes.
I was born in New York City. Born and raised, specifically the Bronx. Shout out to West Farms, East Tremont. Let me stop. I'm so ghetto. No, but people ask me where I'm from. I'm like, I'm from New York because I lived in every borough because I was in foster care. Uh, so yeah, but from New York.
Tell me about your family growing up. You had mom and dad.
Yeah. Well, my father, he he abandoned me pretty much. He never was really like in the picture like that. Um, I don't have an existing relationship with him. And that's that. We can talk about that a little later if you want, like in more depth. My mother, I am not talking to her right now at this moment, although we had, I guess, more of a relationship than I do with my father. But I was predominantly raised by my grandmother, who's like the light of my life, who is like my world.
And you still have a good relationship with her.
Who, my grandma? Oh yeah, that's my love. That's anything and everything I do is, you know, in hopes to make her proud. Um, so yeah, but I was raised in my grandmother's home. We lived in a one bedroom apartment. It was me, my three siblings. I'm the youngest. I'm the baby. And then my sister. Then I have two older brothers, and then my aunt who lived in the same apartment, and we all lived in a one bedroom apartment with my grandmother. From time to time, we would live with my mother, but it was like far in between. And when we did, it was a bit dysfunctional. And yeah, it was a bit dysfunctional, and yeah.
When you say dysfunctional, what do you mean?
Dig right in. So okay, first and foremost, I grew up in a very religious family. So, my mother, she was a minister, like a pastor, person who evangelized and she had her own ministry. But I feel like I was around a lot of toxic religion, like where, I mean, it was like exorcisms and like like they would call it quote unquote deliverance
What kind of church was this?
in the house, in the apartment,
But
like.
but you went to a church.
I mean, we did go to a church at one point called Glad Tidings Tabernacle. But I'm not trying to put out all her government, my mother's, because me and her, we're not talking because I had did a video on another person's channel, and she felt like it was like an attack on her, and she still is in a phase of her life where she lacks accountability for like her part in like all the madness. And I just have decided to like choose myself and to like disconnect in love. And I love her very much, but yeah, she's a bit narcissistic in a way. Like she thinks the world revolves around her, and she yeah, she said some hurtful things about a video that I did where I mentioned being by my brother at an early age. Uh, so yeah, I forgot about what was the question.
It's okay. It's okay. I think you answered it somewhere there.
Okay, cool, cool.
How far did you go to school?
Oh, I went 12th grade, but I'm a high school dropout,
You dropped
unfortunately.
out before you graduated.
Yeah, honestly, I went to like seven different high schools. I was in one particular high school for, I would say, most of my time, like for like until my junior year. It was a performing arts school because I'm an artist, and whatnot. That's like, my dream, my goal, my aspiration in life. However, when I was in foster care, I was going from group home to group home. And yeah, I had to kind of just like switch schools, and I wasn't very focused. I was a bit rebellious. I was looking for love in the wrong places. I was popping I was gonna lit, in school, and my attention span is just when it comes to like school stuff, it's just never been. I've been more of a creative person, excelled in dance, excelled in like the creative, subjects. But
Was it obvious back then that you were
that you kind of saw yourself as a female?
Oh, okay. So rewind. So okay, when I was 5, I knew something was up. Um, First of all, I don't consider myself female. I consider myself a trans woman. Although I would love to be a female if I had a button, if I could press a button and just like be that, and have a native for some
Well,
babies
because there
out.
is a difference between a female and
Right,
a
and I want to
trans.
make a distinction because I respect women very much, and I feel like there's a lot of disrespect of women, especially in media, and a lot of representation for trans people that isn't the best, and it makes us look like we're trying to just like take over spaces and push women out, or just not consider a woman's feeling. And that's a blueprint, honey. That's like, what I mean, like feminine energy being like going back to when I was 5. My aunt, she used to get a lot of these Avon magazines. You know Avon?
Hmm.
Yeah, throwback, right? But they still exist, honey. They got cute perfumes. But I used to cut out like the women in the pictures, and yeah, I just in my mind, my name was Anthony at that time, and I had this like I don't had this fantasy that I would run away, and be Antonia. Like, I was a kid, so I went to the next best thing. Like, oh, Anthony Antonia. Like, even my stuffed animals were like, I'll put A at the end. So if I had a Dr. Seuss, it'll be Dr. Sousa. If I had a SpongeBob, it would be a SpongeBob. And I would just always try to like feminize everything around me.
And this was like roughly 5 years old.
So 5 years old, going to like 10.
But when did something happen with your brother?
Okay, the thing is, my brother, he was technically a child too. He was just 4 years older than me. So, yeah, he would, okay, my brother, he's bipolar. He was, it was hard to, I guess, live with him at times because, he would throw tantrums, and he was really, irate, and going back to the exorcisms and stuff like that. Like, my my mom would be like praying on him and like trying to cast out demons while he's roaring like a lion. And like, he had issues. He had his own issues, whatever. I'm sure he's been, but he lies a lot. Like, he's a pathological liar. So we don't know where it stems from or who it was, because he says a different story every single second, every single day. But yeah, so he started to teach me like around, yeah, I would say around that time, like 5, 6, like, as just like little bit. But then as we got older, it started to get like intense, and then it was to the point where like I kind of looked forward to it, which was like a really like odd thing. I liked it, because like you're being, what I mean, like your anatomy, your even if you're a child, like it's like, oh, what is that? Like, oh, that feels good, and it's like, my older brother, I felt like he knew what was going on. He was 6 years older, and like I'll be like, let's say 10 years old, and I'll be behind the couch, and my brother will be, like me and like kissing on me, and like my oldest brother, he will pass by, he'll like laugh, he'll giggle, and things like that. So I definitely never felt like I was like like fully protected, like that. I don't want to get emotional because I really don't want to cry. But that's kind of like what me and my mother were kind of beefing on, because like she like thinks that like I'm lying about it, even though like my brother has admitted about it, and it's like she thinks that I went on the internet, in pursuit of fame or for clout, and like I'm like saying all these lies, and it's like it's because she just doesn't want to own up to her part in it. So, but I forgive him. I understand that we were young, we were kids. I was scared of him. I feared him. There was a point when I got to 12 years old where I remember the last time he touched me, because I told him I was gonna scream.